Thanks, Paul, and thanks to Reed Corporate for organising this beautiful venue today. Okay, everyone. Firstly, apologies from our MD, Andrew Monkton, because he's unable to be here today. So yours truly is going to give his presentation. Right, so let's get into it. Okay, so Talisman's investment proposition is based on our three assets. The first is our New South Wales Lachlan project, shown up there in the blue bubble. And this is where we've had some recent spectacular drilling success. We've got over 6,200 square metres of tenements, somewhere between Cobar and Condobolin. It's a world-class metal province where we've intersected large zones of lead, zinc and silver at the Rip and Tear project, and significant zones now of lead, zinc, silver and copper gold at Durnings, which was reported in the ASX release on the 27th of last month, I beg your pardon. Next, in South Australia on the Gawler Creighton, we have just commenced work, it's a gravity survey, on our Mabel Creek IOCG project. And our third is the Wonmunna iron ore royalty stream, which we received from Mineral Resources in the Pilbara, which pretty much covers the cost of our exploration. So here we go. We've got a very strong cash position of between $7 and $9 million, being maintained despite our exploration program running at approximately $500,000, maybe $600,000 a month due to the contribution of the Wonmunna royalty. As you see, we've got 188 million shares on issue. We've got a market cap of around 50 million and an enterprise value of just around 40 million. So the board, and with a broad shareholder base, contains the DNA of some highly successful exploration projects and shareholder returns. For example, as was mentioned earlier by Paul, Jubilee Mines and the efforts by Kerry, and other assets such as the sale of Monty, copper joint venture, and more recently Sinclair Nickel Mine. So let's talk about Wonmunna. It's part of the Mineral Resources Pilbara Hub iron ore operations. There are two mines there, Wonmunna and Iron Valley. Wonmunna is the larger of the two, and it's producing circa about 6, maybe 7 million tonnes per annum. It's got a 4 to 5 year mine life based on current ore reserves. However, there are significant additional mineral resources. We expect, based on our estimates, circa between 7.5 and maybe 8.5 million in royalty payments for fiscal year 24. Pardon me. So now let's focus on this overview. I want to go into the Lachlan project area in New South Wales, Central Western, and mainly on the recent drilling success at our Durnings project. Okay, so Talisman acquired the project in 2020 and it now totals 6,200 square kilometres in central western New South Wales. See the outline of the tenements there. We had initially a bit of a slow start, and that was really put down to two problems. One was COVID, which we all suffered from, and rain, the breaking of the drought in New South Wales, which restricted ground activities. However, our exploration team used this time to complete a substantial airborne geophysical program comprising both airborne gradiometry and airborne electromagnetic survey. As a consequence of those two surveys, we have identified at least 15 high priority targets. That's out of a total of 50. So Talisman has now only just started the systematic exploration program, initially testing 4 projects in the south, and this has led to 2 discoveries, one at Durnings and one at Rip and Tear. So there are the 15 high priority targets: Noisy Ned, Carpina North, Rip and Tear and Durnings are the ones I'll be talking about next, mainly Durnings. So the first phase of work at Durnings was to initially drill test what turned out to be gradient IP anomalies. So Talisman has approximately 15 kilometres strike of the prospective Mineral Hill Volcanics, which is the area in green. That's better. With the area in green. Talisman has the lion's share of their prospective ground with all the structures and rocks. We have been targeting soil and IP anomalies, and our first pass RC drilling program intersected in hole DRRC1, intersected 8 metres of 6.3 grams gold and 0.77% copper. So there was a hint of what was to come. So then we did the second phase of work at Durnings, and we completed a 2.5 kilometre survey of gradient array IP, which shows several high chargeability in magenta. So these are the target zones outlined by the IP, and we decided to drill 6 holes, number 6 to 11, aimed at these induced polarisation anomalies. The best intersection that we got was from diamond hole 6. So that's 42 metres of mineralisation containing a high-grade 6 metre core and an exceptional high-grade 2 metre core. The 6 metre core is grading at between 10% lead, 126 silver, 3.5 zinc, 0.4 copper, and just under 2 grams of gold from 274 metres. And if you do today's numbers, that has an in-ground value of possibly $900 a tonne. We should be able to do something with that. Right, so now the next phase, the follow-up stage was we drilled all these holes to the east. So there's hole 6, and it intersected this zone here, which I just spoke about, and this one, and this one, and this one. We then found some historical PDIP, which outlined these conductors coming through here, these conductive shells, and we thought maybe we're drilling in the wrong direction. So we decided to actually drill this hole, number 19. 19 was decided to be as close as possible, probably 10, maybe 20 metres off section, and it intersected last week the zone we were looking for. Very, very similar grade visually from the geologists. It was 26 metres of semi-massive matrix and blebby-galena, sphalerite and chalcopyrite, right where the target zone was supposed to be. We now refer to this as the upper zone. So there is within that a 1 metre zone of massive estimated 80% plus galena and sphalerite. So let's have some pretty pictures. So here you see some shear in through here, some brecciation through here, so it's structurally controlled, but you've got basically 3.5 metres of 15% galena plus sphalerite and around, visually estimated, 1% chalcopyrite. Quite a nice intersection. Next, we've now got some very nice ore textures. We've got massive galena and sphalerite, that's lead and zinc mineralisation, running through from here, running through here. Again, brecciation, these are some of the beautiful textures. This is galena here, this is pyrite, some chalco, sphalerite through here, sphalerite, galena through here, sphalerite and a bit of chalco through here. And some further textures. So you can see there's definitely some brecciation, quartz, galena, that's structurally controlled. So the deeper target. We continued hole 19 to test the large, deeper conductor modelled by pole-dipole induced polarisation survey, which is outlined by those shells there. So we're going from here and the hole continues down and we hit this second zone. Hole 19 then intersected 25.1 metres of brecciated quartz with lenses of vein, matrix and blebby-galena, sphalerite and chalcopyrite at the heart of the PDIP anomaly. The quartz sulphide breccias are suggestive of major structural controls. It also appears that, visually speaking from our geologists, higher in copper compared with the upper zone. And we've found that normally gold is more strongly associated with copper in this region. Interestingly, we also did some PXRF work on the RC chips of the holes we drilled prior, and we're getting significantly anomalous material up here, here, and here. So it's still very early days. We're not sure how we're going to join the dots, but we're getting very, very excited that we might be now in an area with multiple zones of massive sulfides. Next, this was the core in the high-grade zone, 3 to 5% chalcopyrite in a quartz breccia. Very, very nice stuff. Here is an example of virtually 100% massive galena, some quartz and sphalerite, and some very interesting textures here. We're not sure, because we haven't got the assays back, we're awaiting that. That'll be a couple of weeks away. So we've got chalcopyrite here, we have possibly molybdenum, maybe some argentiferous gold and silver. Okay, so next steps. We are fast tracking the assays from both the RC portions and the diamond core. The RC portion should take about 2 weeks, the diamond core about 4 weeks. We're then going to drill test RC pre-collars, the diamond bottoms, the lateral extent, both 80 metres north and south of the discovery hole, hole 19. But we're going to be drilling west this time. The other thing we want to do, and there's a series of opportunities here and other areas I want to point out. So hole number 8, one of the early holes we drilled, is located up here. So as far as hole 6 is concerned, which I can't find, 6 is in here and drilled that way. 8 was drilled that way. So 19 drilled back this way, because while that's the gradient array IP anomaly on surface, the PDIP anomaly sits over here in both these areas. So we're going to actually turn around and drill a hole back down underneath 8 from the west, from the east to the west, to see if we've got a similar set of conditions there. Next thing, so this is a blow up of that area you just saw. So there's the gradient array IP anomaly. Hole number 6 sits in here. Hole number 8 sits in here. Off to the east is this much larger, stronger gradient array IP anomaly. 800 metres to the east. It's about 1.6 kilometres long currently. It's open to the southeast, open to the northwest, and we have the ground for several kilometres both to the northwest and southeast. We will be chasing this up. We've done some geological mapping, we've done some soils, we're waiting for the results to come back. We might do some additional PDIP because it looks much deeper into the ground, but this eastern portion has never been drill tested at all. So we're very excited. So that's enough on Durnings. Just quickly now, on to Rip and Tear. Now Rip and Tear is located some 40 kilometres northwest of Durnings. There we've been targeting soil geochemistry and moving loop EM anomalies, which are highlighted in the warm colours there. Our drilling to date, mainly RC, a little bit of diamond, has been intersecting very large. Looks like, according to the drilling, the mineralisation is something like 2.6 kilometres long so far, although the MLEM anomalies run for 3.5 kilometres. But we're getting low-grade lead, zinc and silver mineralisation. Numerous holes have intersected somewhere between 80 metres and 200 metres down hole, intersections ranging from 0.8% to 1.2% lead with 8 to 15 grams silver. It's a very, very big system. So we're still waiting on our assay results from the most recent drilling, but we will be doing more geophysical surveying and we will be doing more drilling. So the key investment takeaways. We have a highly prospective tenure and multi-commodity exposure. We have a systematic and methodical approach and focused and an experienced team. We have 2 significant discoveries so far, many untested anomalies and many regional targets to be identified. Many regional targets that have been identified. and we have a reliable funding source via the royalty and a strong cash balance. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this space, as I think is probably the best thing I could say. And I'd also like to invite anyone to come and meet and talk with Kerry and I at our Talisman booth. Thank you very much.